so when we open up this national network of these polymer centers, we're going to be directly advancing that bottle-to-bottle circularity. It's truly going to be, in my opinion, something very revolutionary for the environmental services industry.
5 years or so, or even beyond. Like, what are things that get you super excited? You know, you mentioned a few different innovations I thought were interesting, and just how do you repurpose some of these products so they can be utilized locally versus today people are sourcing from across the world to bring these things here? And I mean, you're just trying to figure out, like, how can you get these things out into the local kind of ecosystem, right?
Yeah. And, something that you had mentioned earlier is kind of about the economics involved with sustainability. And for us, we view that sustainability isn't just our responsibility, but it's also an opportunity, right? And that economic sustainability and environmental sustainability, they're inextricably linked, right? We have true opportunity there. And one of those things, the one that gets me really excited is Polymer Center. So in today's world, largely, when you go and you recycle a water bottle, for example, it's not always recycled into a water bottle again. Most of the time, it's going to be downcycled into synthetic fibers for clothes or carpeting, something other than itself, right? With Polymer Center, we're really trying to advance circularity. We want to make a bottle become a bottle again. And in Las Vegas later this year, we're going to be opening up the first of a handful of Polymer Centers, where once we separate the materials at the recycling center, we take those bales to polymer, and then we break them up. We can grind them into flake. We can separate the cap and the ring from the bottle. It can go through a wash process and a drying process, and then ultimately back out on market. There's strong demand for these materials, and especially, right now, you can look up something called extended producer responsibility, and more large CPG companies are looking to bring recycled content back in their packaging. And there's actually legislation that may demand that from them in the near future. So currently, there's not infrastructure that can help meet that demand. But that's exactly what Polymer Center is going to be doing. And so when we open up this national network of these Polymer Centers, we're going to be directly advancing that bottle-to-bottle circularity. It's something it's pretty impressive. I actually just was over there yesterday. It's still in the construction phase, but all the equipment is inside the building. And I just am so impressed with the engineers that come up with the pieces of equipment that work in the process, how they fit it into a building. It's truly going to be, in my opinion, something very revolutionary for the environmental services industry.
And key, I mean, I harp a lot on plastics. There's a lot of good that's come out of plastics, but like plastic water bottles, I go postal. Like, it's just like, we produce 500 billion of these a year on the globe. When I was a kid, we didn't even drink water. And I think about it, like, we drank soda, like, and juice, like, and now it's like everyone, now I don't even have soda in my house. But I think, like, so just a lot of plastics we've had, and it just seems to keep going. And so if you can, reuse that locally, like, such a massive, one, I think it's a massive economic opportunity for sure. But then two, also should have a huge impact, on the environment.
It will. And the key thing, though, to remember is that, again, us as consumers, we do have a responsibility that when we consume these materials, we got to make sure that they end up in the bin. And without that, that's where I think plastics can start to get a bad rap. You're right. There's a lot of things in our daily lives that are made possible by plastic, but we tend to focus, I think, on the wrong material sometimes. There's some statistics out there that kind of take you down the rabbit hole, if you will, right? Saying, only 5% of plastics gets recycled. And there's a layer of truth to that. But when you kind of start peeling back the layers of that onion, you start to realize that global plastics production isn't just limited to a water bottle. It's, it's your microphone, it's my headphones.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, yeah. Right? And so when we look at global plastics production and it's contributing to a recycling rate, not everything that's created is intended to be recycled.
Yeah.
So that's where, when we start getting down to a little bit more of a micro level, if you will, and we're looking at consumer materials, bottles, jugs, tubs, that have the ability to be recycled, yes, we want to make sure that we're reducing our impact. We're using less of those things when and where possible. But when we do use them, when we do consume from them, make sure that they go in the recycling bin, because they are valuable in this big chain of a process, and they will continue to be valuable and become more valuable as producers are looking to add more content, recycled content to their packaging.